Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm just Drew and today I'd like to talk about relocating. As you know, I recently relocated from Copenhagen, Denmark to Nairobi, Kenya. I received some questions based on that video, which I will link, and I thought I would answer some of those questions primarily to do with relocation. One thing I will say about Nairobi, having been away for many years, is that the culture of Nairobi still remains the same. The cultural etiquette that they have, being polite, being respectful, greeting people, acknowledging people while they're in the city and going about their lives, is a lovely thing about Nairobi and Kenya in general. Many countries in the West don't acknowledge other people's existence, and I will say that Nairobi has that 100%, and it doesn't matter what level of society you are or what you're doing in life. It's very important that greetings are passed and they're acknowledged, and then you can go about your business with the person you're speaking to, whoever they may be. And that is one aspect that I really missed and I appreciate, and now that I'm back. Another thing I'll speak about relocating is the weather. The weather in Nairobi is quite something, and it's been raining of late a lot. Especially in the afternoons, and it makes for traveling within the city quite chaotic. But after the rains, shortly the following day, more often than not, it's already plus 20 degrees or maybe 19 degrees, but it's already warm. You can move around comfortably without worrying or being so concerned about your clothing as compared to other places when it's winter and it snows. That can be quite chaotic. So I really appreciate the weather right now, and it's pleasant. Usually at this time there's the equinox and people are just burning, and it was like that a few weeks ago, but it's completely changed. There's something about the rain that really refreshes the city and makes it a very pleasant experience. If you're in traffic, it will probably not be as pleasant, but otherwise it's quite nice. I also wanted to mention that when I was coming up with the list of things about Nairobi, I realized there was so much that needed to be included in this list. So I made a checklist that you can download for free if you've ever wondered about Nairobi or relocating to Nairobi as an option for you in life, because I know many people are relocating all over the world right now and many are choosing Nairobi. So this may be a video and a checklist that may be beneficial to you, so please find it in the description box. One other thing about Nairobi that I think is interesting is the convenience in shopping. And I don't mean like consumerism, it's just shopping for your daily needs. And they embraced it to such an extent that it's become so convenient for one to do their shopping online, and it's delivered to you at home. And that is something that is convenient, especially if you're working and you are living far away from shops, or it makes it a challenge to be going shopping, but you can't get to the shop as quickly as you want. And with the deliveries, they are very convenient and they're very quick, I would say, depending on your need, but they do it very professionally, and it's something that's made living in the city much easier than it was before. Because before, if you had to go shopping, you had to go physically to the shop, just like every other place, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to do that. So the online shopping is something that is much appreciated. And there's also a rise in malls. I do not know why. I can't explain this one because I do not like malls, and maybe for a weekend they could be good for families to walk through, but I think malls are intrusive, so I'm sorry. I have nothing good to say about malls. Another thing about Nairobi that exists is the growth and development of this city, which I think I already mentioned in the previous video. The amount of construction that is happening all over the place is quite astronomical. And this is a growing city and a growing nation, I should just go out and say, because Nairobi in itself has about 5 million people, and if not more. And Copenhagen, not Copenhagen, the country of Denmark has 5 million people. So when you compare a city like Nairobi and a country like Denmark, where I was from, you have to consider how much more housing will be needed to accommodate all these people. I will also say that the level of housing being built is more middle and upper class, and I think there needs to be more thought in terms of housing for different classes of people in the city. But the amount of construction in the city is astronomical. Everywhere you go, you can see a crane or a new building coming up, and that's growth in a growing city. What can I say? And the last thing I'd like to mention in this video is the traffic and the increase in borders, which are motorcycles, motorbikes that are mainly used for delivery of items or people travel on them. They are so many, and the way they ride is quite unregulated, for lack of a better word, and the police can't stop them. I saw one border drive by police after he told the cars on the other side of the road to drive ahead, and he could have easily been injured, but for them it's just hurrying to their destination to do their work, to deliver the person or the package that they need to deliver, but clearly at their own risk. But the amount of borders that are now there is astronomical, and they drive quite recklessly. It's something you can easily see if you come here. But they have their role. There was a need for them. There was a need for them. That's why there's so many that are there. And in general, the traffic seems to have, I wouldn't say decreased, but the flow of the traffic has changed because of the roads that are now there, the expressway that has been built, and the city of Nairobi expanding outwards to the outskirts, because also people have quickly realized that if you want a different quality of life for a fraction of the cost, you need to move out of Nairobi. If you're still trying to live in Nairobi based on trying to live in a house with a compound for your children to be near their schools, it will cost quite a pretty penny, because the majority of places that are being built are apartments. That means the cost of your land within the city would be very high, and the cost of you living there will be very high. So many people have moved to the outskirts of Nairobi, and I think that's a big trend also that's currently happening in the city for people who would be interested in living in Nairobi or want to live out. That's what this video is about today. There's so much to talk about. I really could not fit everything in this video when it comes to things to consider. In fact, a majority of the things I mentioned are things that maybe Kenyans who have lived in Nairobi and gone abroad would understand better. But if you're coming to think of relocating to Nairobi without having a previous background or knowledge of Nairobi, there's a checklist, as I mentioned, in the description box that goes through so much more about the city of Nairobi and things to consider. And as I said, very easily accessible, and I hope the information shared with you today was value to you. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.